Join the Discord, link down in the description. Thank you. Hello everybody. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. Normally on Saturdays, we do a trials video, but that's what this video is for. Pretty much just saying that I'm going to be stopping with the trials videos for the time being because it's just really not fun. I get really frustrated when playing trials, which I'll get into in a second, just in the current state that it's in. And it's just bad. It's just really, really bad. I don't really have a script for this video. I just kind of have a few notes that I'm going to talk about. So if I ramble on, sorry about that. I'll put like different categories into different sections of the video so you can go throughout the video if you want to hear what I have to say about certain stuff. I don't really know how long it is, but nonetheless, let's get into it. Realistically, trials and why I'm going to be stopping playing trials is just because, like I said, it's just really frustrating for a variety of reasons. The first one being the meta is just terrible. This is probably the most unfun meta for me personally that I've ever had. I would take a lot of other metas, such as, like, I know controversial take probably, but I would take the Omni meta. I would take SMG Titan meta. I would take most metas we've had in Destiny 2 over this one. The Prismatic Hunters are just so unfun to play against because you just get smoked or dodged and you're slowed, then you get cloned, then you get swarm grenaded, and they have it every single fight. And the fact that 45% of usage rate is Prismatic Hunters alone, and then 54% is hunters. Typically hunters are a higher player like population just because the class is the most used. But like every game you go into, you know you're playing 2 to 3 prismatic hunters, and it's just so unfun. And other classes can kind of compete with it a little bit. Like if you're playing Dawnblade on a bigger map, you can definitely get the job done. I think Titan Prismatic is actually pretty good, like actually very good. It's just hard to play because you want to play close and personal and like punch them, but you can't really do that against Prismatic Hunter. So if Prismatic Hunter ever gets nerfed to the ground, then I could see Prismatic Titan really being used like a lot. But nonetheless, the meta is just so bad. In terms of weapons, I don't think weapon meta is actually that bad. Obviously, we have some like really good weapons. Igneous Hammer, Kabostov, Elsie's Rifle, No Time. They're all like really, really good. I think high impact pulse rifles are probably the thing that I think needs to be toned down a little bit. The range and the time to kill on them is ridiculous, but personally I think the auto rifles are fine, hand cannons are fine. I think Igneous might need, personally I think with the Igneous and other 120s, precision instrument should probably be removed off of them and they would be fine. But nonetheless, weapon balancing I don't think is that bad personally. It's just a subclass balance. It's just so unfun. And for me personally, obviously it's a bit of a selfish issue. I'm trying to make YouTube video content for you guys, so I want to make builds and different builds. I don't just want to use the same broken, like very strong builds. Like I could use Dawnblade, I could use Prismatic Hunter every video, but it's like you guys want to see different builds. But with the current meta being the way it is, it just smothers every other build that isn't the greatest. You can get the job done, but like it's still so much more difficult but using other stuff, which is just super unfun, especially depending on the map. And obviously that's more of a me issue. Like realistically, I'm choosing to use like not really bad stuff. Obviously, most of my trials videos, I make builds that are good. It's just Prismatic Hunter is just so much better than almost everything else in the game. It just makes it so difficult. Not to mention in trials, the past couple weeks, it's just been terrible maps. Like since the season started, we've had Jab once, and then every other map has just been not good. Like Endless is normally a pretty good map. I don't typically mind Endless. I like it depending on the meta, but in this meta, it's awful because you have to deal with Prismatic Hunters just spraying you down. Then we've had Bannerfall. Now we have Distant Shore. Like these maps are just not fun for me personally. I'm sure some people like them, but it's just like, I feel like most of the consensus is these maps are not fun to play. And Bungie just keeps giving us the bad maps, which just adds to it. And then especially on bigger maps or certain maps, it makes it so you have to play either Dawnblade or Prismatic Hunter to compete. So any other build just is thrown out the window, which sucks. It makes it so difficult trying to use some sort of like off meta build that is like decent, but it's just bad. Then we get to the player population, which it's always just really bad. In the making of this video right now, it's currently 5:30 p.m. on Friday, EST. So prime time, a lot of people would be playing. People would be home from school if they're at it, even though it's summer break for a lot of people. A lot of people would be getting home from work. But nonetheless, there's like 10,000 people playing right now, which is actually pretty good. Throughout the rest of the weekend, it gets way lower. But in terms of like actual, playlist activities, there's like 3,000 solo players, 2,000 duos, and then 900 trios, which is really low considering you have to split that up between 3 platforms, aka Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. Plus then you have last gen consoles, which I can only imagine what the player base is looking like on them at this point, which is cutting it out even more, which is just the player base isn't there, which I don't really know what to do about that. But with the player base not being there, it makes the games just so unwinnable for me personally. Now, obviously, again, we're just going to... I'm going to be a little selfish here, but not only am I using a bit of an off-meta build that isn't not necessarily as bad, but like isn't as good against the 2 or 3 prismatic hunters I'm going to be playing against. Typically with lobby balancing, how it works is you have your best player, and then it puts like either the 4th and like 6th like worst player in the lobby onto the best player's team. And not to like ego or anything, but most of the time I have the highest stats in the lobby, most of the time. Not all the time, obviously, and I'm mostly talking about solo here, obviously. So most of the time I am getting lobby balanced super, super hard. So it makes it so I either drop 10 to 15 kills a game if I really want to win the game for 7 games straight, or borderline, I just have unwinnable games where it just doesn't matter what I do, I just lose. Because most trials games, at least from my experience, is you'll have typically like 1 or 2 like really good players in it. Then you will have 2 to 3 average players, and then the rest of the players are below average. And even if you are really good, if you have 2 below average players against some players that are average or a bit above average, a lot of times you're just going to lose because there's nothing you can do. And then if I'm already putting myself at a disadvantage with, you know, doing some random build, then it already makes it even harder for me. And some people I'm sure are going to be like, well, sounds like a skill issue. I went solo flaws. And with that, I would say you might be correct. Honestly, I'm not playing the game a whole lot because it's in not a great state. So I honestly am not as good. Most of the time when I've been playing, I've been a little bit lower KD than I normally have. And KD doesn't always mean anything, but my aim has just been not the greatest. And I will agree with you. I honestly haven't been the greatest player in the world. But the fact of the matter is, Bungie's like lobby balancing doesn't care about that. They care about your base stats. So even if I'm playing worse than my base stats, then it makes it even worse because I'm getting lobby balanced for that, not what I'm currently playing at. So it just makes it so difficult. And then with the player population being so low, it makes it even worse, especially because PC has the lowest player base. I really wish on Trials Report it would tell you how many players were playing on PC, because I would be very curious, because something tells me it's probably not more than 500 playing solo. And then it begs the question, well, why don't you trio or duo and just play like super stacked or something? And it's like, I could do that, but that's not the point of these build videos. The point of these build videos is like, here how you use a build and how you go flawless and all that fun stuff. But it's just like, it just doesn't work anymore. And maybe I'll start trying to make, you know, trials videos where I duo or trio with other people. But it's just like, I feel like for the most part, people don't really just want to watch somebody run stacked and farm through the lobby, which, by the way, I don't really have anybody to play trials with in terms of stacked. But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. Point is, player population sucks. And I get it. Destiny as a whole kind of is in a bad place right now. I don't think it's necessarily as grim as everybody's making out to be, like the game is just over, because I don't think it is. I think Bungie's just changing off the formula with how they're going to be releasing content, and they're trying something new. They obviously laid off a bunch of other people, but the thing is, people need to also remember is they canceled a bunch of games. They planned on releasing like 3 or 4 different games, and they canceled all of them. So it's like, well, obviously people who are working on those games, they didn't need anymore. My heart goes out to those people. I feel bad for them losing their jobs, but it doesn't mean necessarily Destiny is just dying. But they're not doing a very good job at keeping it going right now, because they're balancing in terms of just everything in the game right now is just kind of meh. Like, and I don't understand also, like, for the PvP balance, side tangent here, when they nerfed Prismatic Hunter, they did like the worst nerfs any company could possibly nerf. It did nothing. It literally did absolutely nothing. Maybe the aim assist helps some controller players, but I can't speak on that because on the clone, the aim assist on the clone. But it's just like, it's just so bad. And then there's nothing to do in PvE. So I get why people aren't playing the game right now, but it's just like, it's just so crazy to me. And I get why the vibes are in the dumpster right now, but I don't know. It just sucks because I used to love playing Trials. I used to play Trials so much back in Destiny 1. And then even in D2, I used to play with friends and it was fun. And then even the solo videos, though they could be frustrating at times, for the most part, it was fine. I don't know if it was something that Bungie did to their lobby balancing or if it's literally the player base is just that bad. But ever since the DLC started, Trials has been stupidly miserable. Normally, prior to the DLC, it was crazy. I would be like a teeter-totter. I would play like 5 to 6 unwinnable games, and then I would get an easy card or 2, and it would be fine. The 5 or 6 in a row unwinnable games was very frustrating and unfun, but then at least I knew there was light at the end of the tunnel, where now that's just not happening. I don't know what they did, but it's just, they've made it so just miserable. But nonetheless, I don't really want to complain too much. I try not to be super negative, but we've been going for like 10 minutes. This is just kind of to say no more trials videos in terms of build videos. Maybe I'll see if I can get in contact with other content creators. I've never really done that before. Honestly, I don't, really talk with other people a whole lot, but maybe I could see if I could play trials with other people in terms of videos. But in terms of just straight up build videos or trials, they are not going to be here anymore. I'm going to be posting something else on Saturday. We're going to try to keep posting like other build videos. Obviously, I've been trying to get back into the groove. We've been posting a little bit more. We've been posting some weapon reviews. Let me know down in the comments, honestly, if you have any ideas, because I'm kind of don't really know what to do. There isn't a whole lot of content. Obviously, I can make some more build videos, but those take a decent amount of time. So it makes it very difficult to do like 3 of those in a week, realistically, for me. But nonetheless, I'll still be posting content. Obviously. Also, let me know how you're feeling about the state of Destiny down in the comments. Just let me know. It just sucks that Trials is as bad as it is, but I'm not going to continue going on like this. If you made it this far, I don't know how you listen to me ramble for, what are we, 11 minutes and 30 seconds. That's kind of crazy. Hopefully you put it on ×2 speed. But thank you guys so much, and you guys have a good rest of your day. I will try to get a video out for Tuesday. Should be a build video, a hunter build video, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And yeah, well, thank you guys for supporting me this rest of the way, and on to the future.